Hey, what's going on, y'all? So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to properly set up a metapixel and a conversions API. And the whole point of this is so that you can optimize your ad campaigns for call bookings. And I'm going to be going over how this relates directly to a GoHighLevel funnel and GoHighLevel build. So I'll show you a little bit on Meta Ads Manager's end and a little bit on GoHighLevel's end. But before I even get into that, I want to show you a quick example on how I've even been able to set this up for my agency and some of the projects that Maher and I have worked on before. We've also set up a very similar structure for clients. So what you're seeing here, website schedules, this is going to be the objective of the ad campaign that takes place. So the idea is going to be to set up the data pixel. So we're only sending over appointment booking information, and that's going to be the objective and the result of the campaign. So the reason that this is beneficial compared to a traditional lead campaign is that this allows us to optimize only for qualified bookings, assuming that your opt-in page and your VSL acts to really filter out BS leads that, this offer may not fit for. This will allow you to only get qualified booked calls booking in, right? And so we're no longer just rewarding Meta for a mere opt-in because, that could mean shit to us, assuming that, it's an unqualified lead that just gave us their data to see what's on the other side. This way, the appointment bookings, it's a lot more clean of an actual lead. Whereas, with like the Meta leads, that's going to be the traditional way of doing things. So how you actually set up a campaign like this. So we'll be back on Ads Manager here in a bit to show you guys how to actually set up the campaign. But before we get into that, I want to show you guys from high level really what we're aiming to do here. So within GoHighLevel, how you typically want to set up your actual funnel, you want to have an opt-in page. So as soon as the lead clicks off of Meta, Instagram, Facebook, and then clicks over to your website, it's going to be an opt-in page for data collection to get their name, email, phone number, so you can do back-end SMS and email automations. But as soon as we get that information, we're going to trigger our pixel and denote them as a lead. So it's like, hey, Meta, all right, cool. We've got ourselves a lead. This is their information. Now, on top of that, we're going to push them over to our sales calendar, try to get them to organically book in themselves. So up to this point, we've had the lead actually opt into our funnel. We've got their information, so we're triggering the pixel as a lead. Hopefully they book in. If they don't, hey, at least we got their name, email, phone number, so that you'll either have an appointment setter or an AI appointment setter reach out and actually try to book that sales call for you. And then this is the heavy hitter though, the thank you page. Once a lead makes it over to the thank you page, they've booked in a call, we're going to trigger our pixel again. However, this time we're denoting it as a schedule. So upon call bookings, this is when our ads manager will then get rewarded with a tick. So instead of Meta typically, going after leads and being like, oh, look, we got this guy 100 leads. So like Meta gets rewarded. What I mean by that is like a result. So Meta will reward themselves the result for sometimes getting you crap leads. This way, it's a lot more clean of data. Going to be a more expensive cost per result, but that's because we're not going for the result of just someone's phone number, but we're going for the result of an actual sales appointment. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. And then this opt-in, just to kind of give you guys a better visual, you can either use a human appointment setter or an AI appointment setter to do this, but this is how we typically go about setting that part up as well. Now within GoHighLevel, as I mentioned, here's an example opt-in page that I wanted to show you guys. So opt-in, VSL, calendar, and then thank you page. So the significant events that are going to take place are going to be off of the opt-in page and off of the calendar. So once a form gets submitted, so like, let me go to a live one. This is just an example I wanted to show you guys, but we take this live one, for instance, and then we go into edit. And then if we click on join Monopoly Circle, trigger is open pop-up. So if we go over to pop-up settings, this is the form that's in there, right? So opt-in page form. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be setting up a trigger for opt-in page form submission, and then we'll invoke our conversions API to be like, hey, this is a lead, they booked in. We're not going to reward them with a website schedule result yet, but just letting them know it's a lead, right? And then we're going to open this up just to make sure I have both of the naming conventions for both the opt-in form and the calendar. But the idea is once they actually book their appointment, in this case, calendar name is Monopoly Strategy Call. So what we're going to do now is go into automations and just follow along with what I'm doing. And it'll make sense here in a sec. So I'm just going to denote these as 1 and 2. 1 will be for the opt-in. So, okay. And then the trigger for this is going to be our form submission over on GoHighLevel's end. And see, you could have also done a Facebook lead form as the objective, but in this case, opt-in form. And then once we've saved that, then we're going to do Facebook conversions API. Now this applies to both Facebook and Instagram, don't worry, but this is our messenger back over to our ads manager account. I'm going to show you guys how to build out the pixel here in a second, but the significant points we're going to populate are going to be access token and pixel ID. So I'll just put placeholders here for now for the sake of saving, but I wanted to set up the skeleton of this so we're good to go. And then notice Facebook event name lead. This is perfect. That's what we want to leave it as. That's where like, hey, this is a lead. And especially when it comes to retargeting, this can be huge for retargeting leads that did not book in calls yet. Go ahead and save that. All right, and now we're going to build part 2, and it's going to be the Metapixel website schedule. That's what we'll call it. Well, I mean, it's technically conversions API, so you can call it CAPI for short, but Metapixel, so we'll put CAPI And it's just called Conversions API because a trigger happens, then we're sending an API back to Meta and be like, hey, this event happened, because Meta won't know about it because it's on our end on our GoHighLevel server. That's the idea behind that. Site schedule. Okay, perfect. So it's going to be appointment booked, customer booked appointment, and then we're going to specify the calendar in calendar. Forget which one it was. We'll just put Monopoly strategy call for now. I want to note also, anytime you guys are running ads, always, always, always have a unique calendar set up. One, so you can delineate your organic traffic from your ad traffic, but also for the sake of having a pixel, if you have your organic traffic or traffic from email marketing or something suddenly book in with your ads calendar, it's going to ruin your pixel data because now Meta is getting rewarded for stuff it shouldn't have because it didn't yield us a result from the funnel or from the campaign. And this can really fuck up your targeting if you're not careful. So anyway, so customer booked appointment, and then we're going to make Facebook versions API. We'll get back to this here in a second. The only difference under lead, we are going to scroll down and we're going to find schedule, and that is going to be the objective of our actual ad campaign. So go ahead and save that for now. Okay, so now we can go back into Ads Manager and actually get started on building out the pixel part of this. So over in Ads Manager, go on the sidebar and go to Events Manager. That's where we're actually going to start the whole setup of things. So it's called a pixel, but in Meta's terms, they also call it a data set. So you'll hear me reference a data set or data source, kind of synonymous terms, but that's really what we're going for here. So go ahead and click on business setting. But Events Manager is where you're going to go if like once your pixel is already set up, but for the builder, that's going to be in the settings. So let me just authenticate real quick. Okay, so if you go into data sources and then click on data sets and pixels. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to click add up top and we're going to create a new conversions API metapixel. So we'll do example data, and then now we don't need a free demo. We're good to go. We're watching a demo right now. So yep, just create that, wait for it to load. All right, and before we go to Events Manager, there's one step we're gonna have to do prior. So we're gonna click Assign People, and then assign it to any heavy hitter that's actually gonna be involved in this process. If you don't know, you can choose anyone, make sure they got full control, and this will allow us to translate the data set into our ad campaign. If you don't assign permissions, when someone's in your Ads Manager account and they're going to actually set up the pixel stuff, they won't have access to tap into this pixel. And then make sure that this connected assets is connected to your actual account that you're going to want to be running ads from. To verify real quick, so let me just do this. All right, so the next step, we're going to click Go to Events Manager. If there's no prompt here, then you can also go to Events Manager from the side. Go ahead and go through here. Now that we've got the base surface level data set set up, we can add the customizations on the use case for this data set. Okay, so once you're in your example data set, you'll be met by this screen, so you can click Setup Conversions API or Setup Metapixel. Both have to be done. We're going to start by setting up the metapixel. We're going to click Install Code Manually. Now, if you remember back to that funnel I showed you over on GoHighLevel, we are going to need to embed some code there, and that is going to allow for page view tracking. Although the events are still going to be set up through those workflow automations I set up for like form submitted and booked appointment, this is going to be just to view the page views so we can see like drop off and all that, which is neat. So copy code, and then we're going to go back over to your GoHighLevel account where your build is hosted. And what you're going to want to do, I'm just going to hop into my example one for this. So I've just copied that code. You go over to your settings where it says head tracking code, copy and paste that pixel code in there, scroll to the bottom of this page, and save it. And now what we've just set up is the metapixel part of it as far as being able to track users that go through our funnel, how far they made it in the lead lifecycle of trying to book them onto a sales call. So that coupled with the conversions API stuff with the triggers is how we can set this full thing up. So now that we've got the code set up, we're going to go back over to Meta, and then here we're going to click continue and then click done. This part is super simple, really hard to mess up. So now that we've got our metapixel set up, the next step is going to be to set up our conversions API. So you're going to click setup conversions API. We're not going to do that. We're going to set it up manually because we know what we're doing. We're going to click next. Yeah, let's do both. So click next again. So you can either click start CAPI. So don't click finish. I don't even know why it allows you to, but click start CAPI so we can actually set up the conversions API. So what we're essentially going to be doing now, scroll to the bottom, click continue. What we're essentially going to be doing now is telling Meta the events that we're looking for. So assuming that you're running a service-based business or you're just trying to book sales calls for a high-ticket offer, we're not going to be using e-commerce retail. We're going to be using other business category. And then we're going to select schedule. We're also going to select lead. Lead is for those opt-ins. Schedule is for those appointment bookings. Those are our two events that we're going to be tracking for. All right. Now, if you'll notice those parameters, we have to select parameters both for lead and for schedule. Now this part is a little bit redundant, but what we're going to be doing is clicking event ID and then literally clicking all of these. We do that because we want as much data about the user as possible. And the reason why is because this will allow for the actual optimization part of this pixel to do its thing. Meaning every time we get a new lead or every time we get a new website schedule, we collect as much metadata about that lead, and the meta can use that to cross-reference and find lookalike audiences or lookalike people that fit the mold and could potentially be another sale around the corner for you. So once you've selected all those for both lead and schedule, you're going to go ahead and click continue. Don't need anything here, click continue again. Don't need anything here. You can send an email if you want. I don't need it, but click continue once more. All right, so at this point, you're good to go ahead and click get started here. We're going to keep setup dataset quality API. So no need to mess with that. Under generate access token, this is going to be one of the important parts. Make sure you save this access token. Also understand this is sensitive information, so don't share this with anyone. Don't post this online or anything like that. So click generate access token for this new dataset, of course. Let's generate that. So it's going to give us a new one on the spot that we're going to go in and plug in and GoHighLevel. So all you have to do is hover over this, copy to clipboard, and we're going to go back over to our GoHighLevel build, back to the automation section, and then we're going to apply this into both 1 and 2. So under Facebook Conversions API, under access token, copy in that new access token we just got, and then we can go ahead and even set the pixel ID. So what pixel ID is going to look like. So that's all we need to do for this part. So just make sure you've got that saved before you click off this page. If you don't have it saved, you're gonna have to redo it. So yeah, just make sure you've got your thing saved. So I've just submitted it. It's gonna say no recent activity because we just got it going. So don't be concerned about that if you're just seeing a blank screen. Click over to settings. Dataset ID is synonymous with pixel ID. You click on it, it'll copy to clipboard. Now back over on our GHL build, pixel ID, copy that in there, and you are now good to go. It'll now understand, hey, we got a new lead, here's the information. It'll tap into this specific data set based on the access token and pixel ID. So go ahead and click save action, save again. So we now have to copy the exact thing over to the other workflow as well. So we can even, I'll leave it unpublished, but you're gonna wanna publish this. So yeah, copy this over, just gonna do it again to make sure. We're gonna hop into this other workflow, do the same exact thing. All right, so drop our access token, retrieve our pixel ID, toss it in there, bang, and we're good to go. So up to this point, guys, we have successfully set up our Conversions API. Now, when you are initially creating your actual ad campaign and you're putting in information in there, and I'll show you how to do that here in a sec, it may be like, whoa, 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 this is a dead pixel or there's no recent activity behind it. Once you can either test it yourself or you can just wait until you go live and you'll see it'll eventually update and actually populate. But off the bat, if you don't do any triggers, no form submissions or no appointment bookings, it's going to look like it's dormant. Another thing you can do if you are trying to test to see if your pixel itself is live is you can download this tool. I don't have it in this browser. I have it in this browser. It's called Metapixel Helper. And what it acts to do is tracks to see if there's a live pixel on a given website domain, right? So it's cool because it'll tell you if there's a page view or not. Like, see, there's nothing here, so obviously it's not going to be doing anything. But if you did have your embedded code on a live domain, you could throw it up and have it in your browser and then do that metapixel tracker, and it'll tell you if you're getting a page view and if your pixel's tracking or not. This is literally just a Google extension, something really easy that you can actually use to quickly test. But yeah, up to this point, the pixel itself is set up. It's going to look like it's not. You can refresh it. And when I say it's going to look like it's not, it's going to remain in a dormant stage until you've actually got some data through here. So I recommend doing a test before you go live just to make sure it's firing. Or, usually, like I've built so many at this point, I usually don't even need a test. I'll just go live with it, and then I'll know very, very soon if it's working or not, obviously. So now that we've got the pixel set up, the data set set up, we've got the custom code applied over on our GoHighLevel funnel itself, we're going to actually construct the basis of the ad campaign in order to have this complementing, right? So what you're going to do is click create. We're still going to do a lead campaign because that's going to be the main objective, is getting quality leads, right? Most people will do instant forms, but today we're going to be going over how to set this with the opt-in page. And again, honestly, the whole point of an opt-in page in essence is to act as firewall, so you don't want BS to get past the firewall, right? So the reason I'm not much of an advocate for these Facebook lead forms that people are doing is because, usually the quality of leads I've seen is pretty shitty. So this way, at least we have something that's a little more on brand as far as they click over to our website, they see our company logo, they see a little bit about us, and then they're like, all right, well, yeah, we'll give our information. Target audience wise, that's usually been able to yield me a solid lead doing that. Okay, so metapixel example, we don't need to do anything in the campaign level. Ad set level is what we're changing. So website schedule result goal. So what we're going to do, you're going to set this to website, right? And then you're going to scroll down a little bit. We're going to keep it on performance goal, maximize number of conversions. And under the data set, we're going to tap into our new data set. So notice these two, we have green checks because they're live. They've already got so much data running through them. So this one, it looks like it's inactive, but I promise you it's not. Just go with it for now unless you've tested it before. And even if you have tested it, sometimes it takes a couple hours to update. Anyways, so this is our new data set. We're going to go ahead and click that. That's going to be our goal. And then conversion event, just like we had set up, it's schedule. So you could do one for leads as well. Obviously, that's not going to be the objective of this one. A solid one for retargeting would be to do leads on here as well. Anyways, for the sake of this, we're going to do website schedules. And now, basically, you've now set up a campaign that's going to be optimizing for call bookings, and we only reward Meta with a result once you get a call booking. Edit everything else as you please, and then obviously make sure that you're using the right website domain for your funnel, so make sure it's set up with ads and you're good to go. One last thing I will leave you guys with now that I've showed you how to set up the proper campaign. I want to show you how to set up a proper retargeting structure based on leads so you can do retargeting. Mind you, this is only going to act to target like leads with very, very low volume because, let's say you're running a campaign and you get like 50 opt-ins. You could run through all those 50 people in a day or two as far as retargeting is concerned. So very low budget type of retargeting, but it's great to hit the people that are like really hot leads that gave us the information prior. I even recommend pushing them directly to the VSL and don't even push them to an opt-in page because they're already a lead. They've already given us the information, right? No point trying to redata collect them. If anything, that can cause friction. Anyway, so we're going to click create audience, custom audience. You're going to click website, then you're going to click next. Now within here, we're going to use our example one that I had showed you guys. And then we're going to do people who visited specific web pages. It's not letting me create this audience because this one's not live. So I'm going to show you guys just from a live one. So when it's not live, it's not even showing me any of the events because we don't have any tracking data on it prior. So, you usually won't do a retargeting until after you're already started anyway. So taking a data set that's already actively running, you'll notice all the different page views that we're able to track and notice lead. So this is coming from GoHighLevel from that opt-in that we set, that number one automation workflow I set. So for lead. So now we're targeting opt-ins. You can do whatever time frame. I recommend, 30, 60 days. Just to get more warm people. So this is now an opt. So yeah, so this is now a successful opt-in retargeting custom audience. So what you do, create audience, set this up. We've already got one made for this client specifically, whose account I'm in, so we're not going to run that. But I'll show you guys from a front-facing view because we already have one live here. So retargeting, if we open this part up, just to show you into his custom audience. So we've got a retargeting that's specifically targeting people that have opted in that are leads, right? So we're keeping the same objective of website schedules even for these opt-ins, just because, we still want that result to maintain, the opt-in website schedule thing. Nothing on that is changing. Notice literally only $2 a day because, our audience definition, even as you can see here on the right, very, very narrow target audience, like under 1,000 people, right? So custom audience is opt-ins last 30 days, setting our demographics, and that's it. And then retargeting website viewers, we also have a custom audience set up for leads that have watched at least 75% of one of our long form ads. And the idea behind this is like, okay, well, they've watched enough to be somewhat warm. They know a little bit, right? So we're retargeting these guys as well, only $4 a day. So retargeting campaigns are dumb cheap because the sample size of the leads you're going after is way smaller. And it's a lot smarter just in general to have most of your budget, the bulk of the budget, go towards the cold top of funnel campaign anyways. And essentially think of it like as a vacuum. You want to get as many people, cold traffic, to understand your offer, and based on opt-ins, based on page viewers, all of that. But yeah, guys, that's a quick rundown on how to successfully set up a Metapixel with Conversions API in order to create an ad campaign that optimizes for call booking. So over time, you're able to get really, really strong data on these leads that are actually booking calls with you, and hopefully you'll get a reduced cost per booked call over time as Meta really starts to understand your ICP and who you're actually going after. Then, like I showed here, finish it off with how to even set up a retargeting on those leads that we're denoting from the opt-in part of the Conversions API. Yeah, guys, hope this helps, and best of luck.